way of making us step out of feeling small and insignificant into more exalted states of consciousness. So, in the Emerald Tablet, Hermes affirms that it's true, without question, that what is above is the same as what is below, that everything is one. And again, as I've said, new physics now regards this as true. And it says of performing the miracles of the one thing. After all, if you've grasped, become one with the very substance of all phenomena, of course the results can be miraculous. I mean, physical life is miraculous enough as it is. Even when you watch, the change of a caterpillar through a chrysalis into a butterfly.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
But that's kind of slowed down because of the requisites of time and space. But if a human being has become aware of it at source, the transformations are, as St. Paul says, in the twinkling of an eye. So Hermes calls this the miracles of the one thing. And then he speaks about the sun and the moon and the air, the wind carrying it in its belly. He's referring to this universal radiance. So in the East it's often called prana, or the Chinese call it qi. And so the main forms of it in the macrocosm are from the radiance from the sun, from our nearest star. So we inhale it, but we also eat it because of photosynthesis of the plants, where the energy is then embodied and then eaten. And also of the moon, and the wind carries it in its belly, because we're talking about our atmosphere, which is solar charged. So this is how we receive, in the natural state, the life-giving energy of the universe, through breath, through digestion, and through sleep, hence the reference to the moon. But from the interior point of view, it's also a reference to, the sun and moon are references to the subtle channels in the etheric body. That's why often on alchemical versions of the crucifixion, you'll see the sun and moon in each corner. Mm-hmm. You also see them on Tibetan tankas of meditational deities. You'll see the sun and moon in each corner. Mm-hmm. And the wind here is referring to the use of breath, of breath techniques, what the East calls pranayama, which is also a part of alchemical work. So then, in the second paragraph, Hermes says how this is the father of all perfection, or consummation of the whole world. Well, that's a way of saying father of all perfection means the father is the originator. Yes? Mm-hmm. Consummation means the end. If something's, the consummation of the age. If something's consumed, it's finished. Mm-hmm. So it's saying that this one substance is the beginning and the end. So this is why the alchemists use that term azot, using the first and last letters of the Hebrew, Greek and Latin alphabets to make up this little coded word, mm-hmm. azot, because the primal materia is one and is transcendent to time. So he's trying to encourage the reader of, see how powerful this is. This is the answer to everything. Mm-hmm. He says its power is integrative, that it's unified. And then he says to separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross, gently with much sagacity. Sagacity is an old-fashioned word, meaning nowadays we'd say skillfully. Mm-hmm. So here he's talking about the energy that flows through the universe, that enters into the nervous system of the human being and expresses itself through action, mainly. Yes?
Yes.
Even to scratch your head is an action. But to separate it from the earth means here one turns that energy away from outward manifestation, only during the meditation practice, I should hasten to add, turns it away from outward expression, sending it back up through the spinal cord, back into source, because it carries consciousness with it. I don't know if you know, but one of the things that baffles scientists at the moment, actually far more than changing lead into gold, which can be done now in laboratories anyway, because there isn't, atomically, there's not a great deal of difference between lead and gold. Mm-hmm. But what baffles them more than anything else is, if you decide to scratch your head, the moment you have that thought, in a millisecond, an electromagnetic brainstorm occurs in the synapses of the brain. It's actually luminous electromagnetism. It can be seen and detected, you know. Mm-hmm. And then it flows down the spinal cord and then along whichever nerves to the limb concerned, in this case the arms and fingers, carrying the electrical impulses that cause the muscles to twitch, and thus they make movement. And this knowledge now is used by most professional sportsmen in coaching all over the world. But what baffles the scientists at the moment is this question, and this is the big question from their point of view. Where was this electric magnetic fire before the thought? Okay, the brain is filled, with it the moment the thought comes, but before it, where was it? There's no reservoir of it in the body. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, the Kabbalist, the alchemist, the yogin can answer the question very easily, but the scientists are still working on it. So, that same fire, if turned about, after all, alchemy is the West's form of Kundalini yoga, that same electric charge turned about and upwards, up the spine, yes, into the transcendent, will also carry the consciousness of the alchemist with it.
Right.
That's how they learn to enjoy the non-dual state. Mm-hmm. And to separate it sagely, gently, means in early practice we exteriorize the etheric body, which is the energy body, from the physical body. This is the basis in some forms of yoga too, and in Taoism. So it's in the subtle body that the fine adjustments are made, because then that in turn will begin those changes in the gross, in the physical body, while we go about our daily lives.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Hermes continues to say of the fire, it ascends from earth to heaven and again descends to earth, and revives the strength of the superiors and of the inferiors. So he's saying the benefits of the fire, that it is one force. So it may appear to come from above to below, and on other occasions it may appear to rise from below to above, but it's one. In other words, the secret fire, the electric magnetism, is no different to the universal energy. It's just the universal energy is diffused. The fire is that same energy, but concentrated, increased, and directed, targeted. Do you see?
Yes, okay.
And so then he finishes by saying, and so now thou hast the glory of the whole world. Glory, by the way, is another piece of twilight language. Glory is a term used in Kabbalah to mean the unmanifest. Mm-hmm. So when it says the glory of the Lord filleth all things, it means, the universal radiant energy pervades everything.
Okay.
And he says, this is the strong fortitude of fortitudes. Fortitude is an old word. In the old sense, it doesn't mean fortitude to have patience, it means to have strength. And some of your listeners may know that in Tarot key 8, the card numbered 8, strength is the card of the Kundalini of the alchemical fire.
That's right.
The red lion.
Yep.
So he's saying this is the strength of all strengths. And again, Sefer Yetzirah refers to this and says it's the secret of all spiritual works. And he tells us more about it. He says, because he's talking about the fire. It overcomes every subtle, penetrates every solid thing. So the world was created. You see what he's saying? And we know that the cosmic rays